Okay, we are hearing and seeing and reading a lot of activity on Twitter around Common Core. I've got some questions here we will answer. This table is about Common Core. Let me tell you who we're talking to. All of you, welcome back to the show. Thank you very much. Barrett Taylor from the St. Louis Public Schools, Robin Wabi with the City of St. Louis, worked in the mayor's office on education, and Alex Cuenca from St. Louis University. You guys were already talking when I got over here. Common Core seems to strike up a conversation. What do you guys think about Common Core?
Well, we all sort of talked about it. Personally, I like standards. However, I'm not a big fan of Common Core. It seems like with education, we keep on jumping on this, we keep on looking for this panacea. We keep on moving from this new thing. We always want this new thing. Common Core is great, but I think if you want to improve education, we have to improve the practice within the classroom.
This kind of goes along with the tweet we heard. We've seen this before with No Child Left Behind and then other things.
2014 or 2013, all students will be advanced proficient. Where did that go?
Well, I have a different take on it. I think that what you're really getting to is some of the implementation problems, and I think that we have to unpack this. We do a lot to set standards to be able to make sure that we function well in our communities. We paint yellow and white lines on the roads to be able to make sure that we know how traffic goes. We have building standards. You build buildings in Tokyo or in Toledo or Toronto. The engineers and architects have a sense of what really has to happen in order to build a safe building. That's really what Common Core is too. The implementation of things, the driving of textbooks, the question around whether the assessments are really going to give us the information that we have, those should be open for discussion. But being able to say that algebra in Sedalia is the same as algebra in St. Louis is really important.
Yeah, I have difficulty arguing against standards. I think schools need standards, and so I think Robin is right on that front. I think that the challenge is that these Common Core standards haven't really been field tested. There's very little we know whether these sets of standards are qualitatively or quantitatively better than the standards that we have currently now. They are higher, fewer, clearer, I think in theory. They provide a different take than what we currently have in Missouri. The Fordham Foundation in 2010 categorized Missouri as one of the worst states with ELA standards or mathematics standards. So I think the Common Core in and of themselves are perhaps an improvement, but again, the money that we're investing in Common Core, the money that we're investing in Common Core assessments for basically something that, again, may not be any different than what we've had in 2001 with No Child Left Behind, I think should give us a reason to pause, to think about, to really consider whether all this investment that DESE's making, all the capital the human capital that teachers are investing in rewriting curriculums, all of that work, really creating this education industrial complex around Common Core is really worth it if we're just going to change our minds in 5 years to some new innovation, some new thing, the new silver bullet, the new panacea.
Are you saying there's money to be made on this, and that's kind of got the wheels turning and
unequivocally? I think test makers are making money. I think textbook companies are making money. I think those that are selling pre-tests are making money. I think folks are making
Common Core textbooks. This book is Common Core.
Right.
Well, what is Common Core?
And if you think about Common Core, and Common Core brought this to scale, right? The problem before for textbook manufacturers was that they had to sell to different districts, to different states, write different sets of curricula for everyone else, and now they can bring it to scale, sell it to every single state who's part of this consortium, and make a good amount of money at the end of the day.
Yeah, but I don't think we should be fooled here. We know that we're going to see these textbook companies knocking on the schoolhouse door regardless of Common Core. And so I think that Common Core may be the whipping post right now, but we really need to separate these things from being able to have clear standards. Look, kids are not going to live in the school district that they learned in their entire life. And we are not going to only employ people from our community. And so as we are a highly mobile society, a global economy, we have to be really clear about what we're really delivering on. And that high school education is the same. We really understand that the courses that you had an opportunity to be involved in really did deliver on the content. I'm a history teacher. We're all history teachers. And I am a Civil War buff. My kids may spend all year learning about the Civil War and really not have an understanding of the full breadth of American history because I didn't have an accountability tool to really make sure that kids had the standards.
So are our teachers, this is coming from Twitter, are our teachers being trained adequately? Are they being prepared to get on board with this?
That's something we've been talking about for weeks here. I think Common Core is only K through 12. The one question I have is, where does higher education come into the equation? We need to do a better job of new teacher training.
I think the big gap you're going to find with Common Core is there's going to be a lag between MAP tests and in the implementation of Common Core. So districts currently are stuck between whether we teach the MAP test or whether we teach the Common Core. There's an instructional lag, and for about 1 or 2 years, you're going to see education in Missouri and across the country essentially in crisis, because there's going to be this lag between the standards and the tests we're currently using and the standards and tests that are based on the Common Core.
You notice he didn't answer the question there.
But he did
He didn't answer the question.
But I think I picked up him saying crisis is what we're going to be in. That's a strong word.
Well, we're perpetually in crisis. I mean, I think that works to the advantage of most folks. And yes, we do need to do a better
He's
job.
not answering the
We do
question.
need to do a better job in higher ed.
We need to do a better job in higher ed of training teachers. You look at medicine, you look at law, everybody can't be a lawyer. Everybody can't be a doctor. We need to have a fundamental paradigm shift in education.
And when
Maybe
our
we need to
society values education
Yes.
and teachers, then I think we can make those those distinctions in the way in which we bring people into teacher education.
In some cultures, the teacher is the most important person in that culture.
Not here.
The question I would ask is here, is the do we value teachers?
And
Well, I
I'm
think-
with you there.
Yeah, and so why waste a good crisis if we're going to have one, right? And so you have to start somewhere. And so now we've started in saying this is what we mean when we say in the United States we're delivering on a particular level of education, grade level or content area. Well, now that we have that, so the challenge is let's make sure that we're training our teachers to meet the challenges of that new Common Core. So let's take advantage of that. You get the win, and then our kids get to have a win too.
Okay, let me go back to you then. Our kids are not buildings that are right angles and maybe not fit well into certain standardizations. Are our kids just going to be turned into test-taking robots here if they're to be successful under these measures?
So the good news here is that Common Core are minimums, right? And so I think what we're really saying is that our kids deserve to have a high rigorous academic experience, and it shouldn't be to the whims of our likes and dislikes as individuals. And so we should say that this is what we mean when we're delivering on an education. Our kids aren't robots, and actually, and neither are our teachers, right? And so we want to be able to say this is a minimum, this isn't the only thing that you get to do, but in your 4th grade experience, this must be delivered. The creativity and the ability to give kids new and different experiences are still there. This isn't the limit of the maximum, but this is the place in which we say no child should have less than.
But if the structure of reform has been to talk about standards that are aligned to tests, how is this particular set of standards any different than the set of standards that we've had that have been aligned to tests? Like, I don't see how it's going to really change the achievement gap or really give us to that floor that you keep on talking about, because I think it's the same set, just with a different concepts that we're
Semantics.
talking about.
Oh, it's not semantics. I think when we're really talking about making sure that we have that children have access to quality everywhere they go, I think that we're really declaring that. This really bubbled up from the states. I think we forget that in the conversation sometimes because Common Core got put into the race to the top, and those applications and the waivers really got into the national politics. But the fact of the matter is conversations were taking place all over the United States, in classrooms, in school board meetings, and in the governor's office. And it was through those conversations at the National Governors Association that we really said, wait a minute, if we're really going to be competitive as a nation, we have to really say what we really mean for all of the children. I think it's really actually going to be the benefit of kids that may have actually fallen through the cracks in subgroups. And in the past that we said, well, you know, we're going to bury those kids in the data. No, now we really have to say we're all committed to all kids learning these minimum standards.
But just
I'm getting the hard rap on the segment. Go ahead, real quick.
just because you have a set of standards, does that mean it's going to make kids learn more?
No, but I think without them, you cannot think that this thing's going to change itself. And what we know is we're not competitive locally, we're not competitive in our region, and we're certainly not competitive nationally.
And we'll leave it there. As gentlemen, we'll leave it there. Absolutely.